All right, so we're back on Breaking Dawn. We got Seth Wyall aboard with us for the next 10 minutes. Seth is going to be talking about diabetes and amputation. Seth, good morning to you.
Good morning, Stefan Reese, Synergy TV.
Yeah, man.
Our viewers regionally and internationally, and of course, locally. So, diabetes and amputation. Of course, most people, when they think about diabetes, it's just about the sugar levels. That's what most people think. But diabetes is actually one of the only conditions that can slowly break down the human body to the point where parts of the body have to be removed. And the frightening part is, by the time someone reaches the state of amputation, the process has been happening for years or even decades.
Okay.
Right? And amputation is not where the problem starts, actually. It's where the problem ends. So what I want to do is walk us through what is actually happening inside the body, step by step, of course, briefly, so you understand how persons goes from thinking they are managing diabetes to losing a toe, losing a foot, or even a whole leg. And it starts with consistently elevated blood sugar, right? Not occasionally, but repeatedly elevated over time, all right? Now, of course, in my book, I go in depth into that so people get a full understanding of what they should and shouldn't be consuming as well, all right? But the sugar begins to damage the blood vessels, especially the smaller ones. So now circulation starts to decline, particularly to the extremities, the toes and the feet, why it's further away from the pump. Let me share my screen to show you all image here. Let me show you this image here. Seeing the screen? Let me know when you're seeing the screen, seeing the image.
Yep.
All right.
Well, I see it.
So on the left-hand side here,
wait, hold on.
We have, right, on the left-hand side.
Yeah, we see the image now, yeah.
Now, these are a lot of blood vessels. So even though it's looking like a little painting with some white in between, that is a lot of tiny blood vessels there that is having to do the work in the body, transporting nutrients to all the vital stuff in your system. All right? But this is how it's supposed to look. You see, all is basically the same color of red, same shade of red. Now, this is what happened with somebody with a diabetic foot. All right? The blood vessels, because of the stiffening and thickening of the artery walls due to things like glycation, which causes plaque and things to build up, the cross-linking of proteins, like I mentioned earlier. I went into more details of that in my book. The blood can't reach all the way. So then you start getting, the tissue starts to die because nutrients that are being supplied to the area can't be properly supplied, and waste materials can't be properly removed, all right? And that's due to the high levels of sugar, all right? Let me end sharing the screen here because I'll come back to some other images later on, all right? So when those blood vessels begin to get damaged, all right, less circulation, you also have nerves. The blood vessels also carry nutrients and stuff to the nerves, so the nerves themselves are no longer being properly supported. And when that happens now, you then have sensation that begins to decline. I am pretty sure a lot of people that are watching today, watching this segment, you already have sensational decline in the extremities, all right? Because usually when people come to me, a lot of people start telling me they're getting these little tingling in your foot, all right? So I know a lot of people watching is already at this stage, all right? So the person cannot feel pain the way they used to, right? So they may not feel a cut or blister or pressure building in the foot. So now you have a dangerous combination, which is reduced circulation and reduced sensation. You know, a person could develop a small injury and not even know that it's there.
Correct.
So because the internal environment of the body is already compromised, the body cannot heal properly. So instead of that wound closing, it remains open, or it worsens, or it becomes infected, right? Now, once infection sets in and circulation is already poor, the body cannot deliver what is needed to repair the tissue. So the tissue begins to die, and once tissue is no longer viable, it has to be removed. And this is where amputation comes in. Let me share my screen again because I want us to see, I want us to get a view of what actually happens here. All right. So this is where, it have the plaque and stuff and the thickening of the artery walls. So that is what reduces the flow of nutrients in the blood vessels.
Right.
But let's look at this here. Let's look at it. Let me go up here. So you might get a little blister. But because the nerves are damaged and not proper nutrients is being sent to the area or waste material being removed, it starts to deteriorate. And then it worsens. And then, of course, as we see, it worsens even more. And then to the point of amputations. But I ain't going to keep this up for too long because a little graphic. Let's look at this one here. So look at the grades. Good foot. Damage here, grade 1. Then you have grade 2 start to deteriorate, grade 3. Grade 4 and 5 is usually where amputations take place. So you have grade 4, you might lose a big toe. All right? Or you might lose a couple of the toes. But then when you have reached a grade 5, now you might have to lose the whole foot. All right?
Yeah.
You might have to lose the whole foot. And that's because of diabetes. All right? People not eating correct. All right? So let me continue. All right? So, and this is why, as we see what take place here, and this is why I said earlier, amputation is not where the problem starts.
Right.
It is where the process ends. All right? Now, here's where we have to, challenge some very common beliefs. Because most people with diabetes, they believe they are managing their condition. They're taking the medication and the monitoring their blood sugar levels, like I've mentioned many times over and over. All right? That people in their minds, they're thinking everything is under control. Because on paper, on the figures, my readings are looking good. All right? But if the condition progressed to the point of amputation, it means the condition was never under control. And this is why I've told people they need to get this idea of managing a disease out of their minds. You need to get that out, all right? Because what they're thinking is managing is basically silent deterioration. You're deteriorating, but it's happening, and you're just not consciously aware of it because the medication is suppressing the alarm signals. So the body getting worse, but the person oblivious to that fact.
Right.
All right? It's oblivious to that fact. So you're thinking you're okay, but you're not. So the blood vessels are still being damaged, the nerves are still deteriorating, and the body's ability to heal itself is still compromised. All right? So the real question is not, why did the amputation happen? That's not the question. The real question should be, how did the body reach a point where it is, ready to sacrifice a part of itself?
Right.
And that's what we have to ask, all right? So the answer is found in the years leading up to the amputation. And not just years, but it could even be decades, because it's years of internal damage, right? Years of improper nutritional input, years of the body being placed in an environment where it cannot repair itself properly, all right? So disease is not something that happens overnight. There's a breakdown that takes place slowly, and that this breakdown takes place long before symptoms appear. And this is what I've been telling people. It's better to have the knowledge and not need it than to need it and not have it. All right? Because we out here thinking, well, I'm feeling good, so therefore let me continue. Let me continue to drink the beer. Let me continue to eat this way or that way. All right? And also, many people are out here thinking they're eating healthy, because you have the health conscious one. And I've had a lot of people come to my clinic, very health conscious people, but yet they develop these health issues. But they're thinking, but I've been health conscious, I've been eating how I've been seeing in the mainstream, I've been seeing on YouTube and TikTok and all this stuff. But the information isn't accurate, because many people don't understand how you're supposed to disseminate truth or facts from fiction. And that's one of the problems. All right? And something we have to take very serious is in Trinidad and Tobago, we have one of the highest diabetic rates or diabetes rates in the world, and diabetes-related amputations in the world. All right? We are among the highest in the world. We have at least one person every single day in Trinidad and Tobago, losing a limb is over 400 amputations we just have per year, right? So somebody losing a limb every single day, some days two, right? This is what has been going on in this country, and we need to be more conscious, all right?
Right.
But we now have to address something else. Because a lot of people, the dangerous belief that people have is once the amputation happens, people believe, well, the problem has been dealt with. The amputation does not fix the condition. It doesn't fix the condition. All it did was remove the damaged tissue. The internal environment that created the damage in the first place, that is still there. That hasn't changed. All right? And this is why I say people need to educate themselves. That's one of the reasons why I published my book. This is why I have consultations and stuff with people to educate and to coach in order for people to have the right information and the right guidance. Depending on medication is just playing a numbers game. That's all people are doing, playing a numbers game. The numbers could be right and everything internally is wrong, but the numbers right. All right? That is not how you measure health. All right? So people, we also have to understand another thing. Even after amputation, it is not too late. The body still has the ability to repair. You're not going to get back the limb, you know. But you can heal the internal environment of the body, and you can reverse that disease. You can reverse your diabetes.
Right.
All right? You can reverse your diabetes after amputation, so it's not too late. It is not too late. The only time it is too late is when you're dead.
Okay.
Right? That is the only time it is too late. Once you have life, you can still heal your body and prevent the continuation of disease or further amputations. It can be done. So your body is not failing you, you know. Your body is actually responding to what is being given to it every single day. And this is what I need people to understand. You are thinking you're eating healthy, but you are not. Right? Trinidad is one of the sickest countries in the world. I could guarantee that we are not, as a nation, we are not eating healthy. All the health conscious people, all right? This is why you even get all these fitness people dropping down with heart attack and all this stuff like that. We don't understand nutrition. We do not understand nutrition, and many people don't care to understand nutrition because a lot of people are addicted to what they are consuming and they want to continue to eat what makes them feel nice. All right? But we have to understand when you are sick, a sick person doesn't just affect them alone, no. It affects everyone around them. It affects everyone around them. It affects your family members because they don't have to take care of you. It affects your work colleagues because then you're going to be missing days. Your performance levels going to reduce, and that's going to put extra burden on all the other staff to do work that you could no longer do. This is why they say the greatest resource of any country is the human resource. But if the human resource is constantly sick, then that country is going to have a big, big issue when it comes to development, when it comes to progression. And we are clearly seeing it, right? And Stefan, I'm sure you could remember, I've done segments showing the relationship between things like crime and nutrition, which again, the ministry and governments are not going to look at.
Right.
It's not going to look at. We keep thinking of fighting crime with more policing. Has it worked?
Not working to date.
Right?
It didn't work to date. What we're going to do. You know what I mean?
Because it's the wrong approach.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, Seth, we're out of time, but yeah, but thanks a lot for joining us and giving us that information there.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Because I know that diabetes does lead to amputation, and the more that people could avoid that, the better for them. All right, because nobody wants to lose their limbs. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Nobody. I can't imagine what it would be like to lose a foot or a hand or whatever the case might be. You know, a toe, even a toe. I don't even know if you understand, or a finger. So it's something that people got to remain aware of, and you know, just make the necessary moves to avoid reaching to that point. You know what I mean?
And one of the moves I could tell people to make, you go out there and get my book, contact me, and book a consultation. Here's the thing: I have never encountered anybody that did a consultation with me that was not shocked and surprised of the information I shared with them.
Okay.
Haven't yet. Right?
All right. Well, we will see you again next week.
Yes, next
Day
week.
after the
More
holiday.
interesting topic next week.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right.
After the
Thanks a
holiday.
lot, Seth.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. So that is Seth Viola Board on the Holistic Health Clinic. And
If you want to understand what's really happening inside your body, I break it down in detail in my book, You Are Not Sick, You Are Malnourished. It's available on Amazon and Gumroad, RIK bookstores nationwide, Nelson's bookstore in Tobago, or directly through the clinic.